welcome back to Generation Dan. I am Nick Fernandez, and I feel um, obligated to be here tonight with my two wonderful co-hosts. And who do I got with me here?
You got Atlas Novak, who will fix most of that in editing.
Yeah.
There's just so many us. And Dino the genetic marvel. Hi, everyone.
Just kind of a big there, because I couldn't think of the word obligated, but we got there.
His entire life is the word right now.
Yeah, just a big, like, bated breath waiting for the next thing.
Yeah, please. So tell us what you were telling us before we started recording.
I had a great morning because I gave all of my hardware back from my previous job, so now I have no work computer until I get my next work computer. And I don't know, there's such freedom when you don't have a work computer. Like because there's nothing to do. There's nothing you need to be doing. There's nothing that needs to get done. You're just, oh God, bliss.
So you how long do you have until the next job starts? 2 weeks or?
The 26th. So yeah, basically.
Okay.
Just over. Yeah.
I'm surprised you didn't do that. Like, it seems like most people, when they have another job lined up, they give their 2 weeks, and then they're like, and then I start the next Monday, and you're like, why? Why would you do that? You know?
Yeah, I asked them for like a week, and they were like, how about 2.5? And I was like, that sounds great. That works for me. Yeah. Yeah. Because they have like a training course that they run a few times a year, and they were like, this works. You can start when that starts, and you gotta...
Oh, nice.
Yeah, another few weeks. So,
Nice.
yeah.
So you got 2.5 weeks to just shoot the shit, huh?
Yeah, and then 3 weeks of training. So, I basically got like 6 weeks before I actually have to output anything.
Always a good time. That's damn. I'm kind of jealous. I had something like that.
My first vacation, like, since I basically started school.
Wow.
Fuck you! You don't even deserve a vacation.
That's sad.
Get lost.
Yeah.
That's like...
Well, I guess since first year, because like the summer after first year, I had a couple weeks off before I started working. But then after that, I was either in school or doing an internship for the past, like, I guess 10 years.
Wow. No,
yeah.
Like, I took a week off in July and went and, like, went to the lake.
God,
or
maybe like 4 or 5 days, but like nothing more than like a
Good.
Work.
You don't deserve it.
Thank you.
You know?
I appreciate it.
Dino might be the, like... I just love where he's like, yeah, fuck you then.
I feel like he's like a guy that was working at like one of those industrial plants during like the Industrial Revolution in Britain. And he's like, what do you have to complain about? They give you beer once a week, and you might die of inhalation, but that's fine.
That sounds accurate. You know what? I remember when I was working at the bank, that was one of the things that came up was they were like, oh, we're doing a raffle for whoever gets the most of sale, and I'm like, I'm paid to be here, right? And she just looks at me and she's like, what do you mean? I'm like it's my job. I'm gonna try and work and do my job every day. Like, you don't have to entice me with, oh, we're gonna give you some stupid shit that now I'm gonna have to leave on my desk for my whole life, and people go, oh, you have that thing on your desk, and I'm like, yeah, no, just I don't want no part of that shit. Just let me do my job and leave me the fuck alone.
Yeah.
You don't like a Yeti mug? What do you got against a Yeti mug, huh?
I don't know. I don't understand the, like, all right, we're going to have a raffle for a pizza party. I'm like, all this money that you're spending on this, you could just give us a living wage. That'd be cool.
Oh, how dare you? How dare you want a living wage?
Yeah.
Yeah, but then that wouldn't be tax deductible. Come on,
Yeah,
man.
exactly. No,
True.
So I realized the other day, like, when people go to, like, office functions and they're like, oh, we're gonna I'm gonna get wasted and hit on my coworkers, I'm the guy who's like, I'm gonna get wasted and incite a socialist revolution among my coworkers. That's what I'm gonna do with my drunk tank. No,
yeah, I think you mentioned that last time that you were just like, let's get paid more.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Yeah.
Well, okay, so an update to that story was this week, me and the other guy who are, like, orchestrating that, we sent the email to HR where it's like, hey, it appears we're at an impasse. This medical practice has one of the highest rates of turnover in the city. that's because we're not getting paid enough to live. We would like to discuss our salary. And like I worded it where it was, everybody's CC'd, everybody's included as part of the language. And then the email he sent back to me was like, I will get back to you personally and we can have a chat. And I was like, dude, he's trying to like divide and like separate me from everyone else.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So my plan is like when I replied back, I'm like, I guess we'll talk about this over the weekend, and when's a good time for us to meet? Just push back, and I am not getting a raise until my coworkers get a raise because we're united. God damn it!
Unified language, I like it.
Well, that's the thing is, that like Europe has a huge amount of unionization within each countries, whereas like the States is actively, like, I think it's only like 26% are unionized.
Yeah.
Whereas I think in Europe it's closer, I want to say 73, but it's somewhere around there, where it's like, yeah, everyone's unionized. You know why? Because you deserve to have a living wage. And it's not about, like, the minimum wage was originally created so that people could survive.
Yeah.
Right? Not be prosperous. Like, that's the start. That's just so you can survive. And it's like, hey, that's it. And you're like, it's unreasonable at this point, right?
Yeah. And what's funny about that is that after I sent that email, I got a call from HR, and they're like, hey, we recently hired somebody to do invoicing for the clinical trials department where you, like, physically are. So we're moving you to another office. And I was like, not only are they trying to, like, separate me in email, they're like, we're moving him to another office to get him away. I'm like, phones and email exist, right? Like, I'm that's not going to stop me.
Those are breaking tactics 101. Like, that's just, okay, yeah, you're going somewhere else, and we'll talk about one-on-one. You're like, no, we're not going to.
Yeah. So
I think over here, like, as opposed to the Europe, we're just like on the different side of the prisoner's dilemma, where we're just like, hey, we're never gonna trust the other guy, so we're always gonna choose the one where we get 10% more. That's always, and then because of that, if you can't trust that the other person's gonna choose you as well, then that's why you can never get those discussions off the ground, right?
Yeah.
People are too worried that you're gonna screw them, so they're like, "I'm gonna screw you first."
Yeah, well, not this time. I'm gonna do one of those things where I'm hoping to pull off. What?
Sorry.
No, it's okay.
No, I was gonna say was that the whole thing with like right now where everyone is like, oh, everybody wants to get back to work in the office. Like, not one person wants that. Like, we honestly were in an abusive relationship with a 40-hour on-site work week. That's what it is.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Right.
I tried to get off-site work where I was like, hey, you don't really need me. I don't interact with patients in person. Do you think, like, I could get a work computer and work from home? And they're like, no, because it's a HIPAA violation to have stuff off-site, which, okay, fine. Like, I didn't have a good answer to that. So...
You know what? They had the same thing for the bank that I work at. I'm like, is there an option to work from home? And they're like, no, it's against the law. There's legislation that doesn't permit it. And the funny thing is that as soon as things were going into lockdown and everything like that, they were like, oh, you know what? That legislation's changed. And I'm like, I'm pretty sure employers just lie about it and be like, oh, it's a violation. You're like, okay, so if you don't have a secure work computer with like a key and stuff like that, like where it actually works, you're like, why is it a violation? The only reason it's a violation is because people don't want to let you have that kind of power, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's only some industries where that legislation applies anyways. It's only when you have, like, sensitive data that on that computer. Like, if you have other people's, like, private information.
Well, which we do in the market.
Yeah, but you have it encrypted.
Yeah.
It's not, like, everyone else is the same. It's the same process because, you know what? My general manager, they could work from home, but I can't. Why? He still has access to all the same information, right? The only difference was he couldn't do anything.
Yeah, but he's general.
Yeah,
you're not as general.
Oh god.
Okay, so having the, like, if I was to, like, start working from home, one thing that people have to do, like, within our practice was to that they would fill out like a request form, and normally this would be done like on your way out, like, oh, you're going home, you want to request your records be sent to your doctor or whatever, they would fill it out. And I realized that with COVID, a lot of people were, having Zoom appointments and whatnot, so I was like, can I just do this through email? And before they were like, no, and then with COVID, they were like, fine. And then I've just kind of kept doing it, and no one said anything. So that's just how it is now.
Yeah. Which that's why people use the quote unquote law that they think is applicable. They're like, oh well, that's why you can't do that. You're like, okay, well, pandemic. Now what? And there's suddenly we're allowed to do that. Why? It's so blatant, the complete disregard for the working person's well-being, that you're just like, even like, so one of the things that I've noticed, and Nick, I'm sure you can attest to this too, was like people will take other jobs for it's a lateral move pay-wise, but for a higher title, specifically because that will open up their opportunities in the future. Which I'm like, that's insane. But people do that, like, oh, it's a better work title, so that means I'll have better opportunities after that.
Basically the like, oh, you can't do it because of this rule or that rule, kind of reminds me of like when you're talking to a kid and they're like, why can't we go to McDonald's, and then you're like, because the Green Power Ranger said no, so we're not doing it. And then as a kid you're like, oh, okay, and then now being on the other side of it, you're like, dude.
Well, or your parent would just you'd keep asking, but why, and then you just end up with the because I said so. Like that is the end of that decision tree. Is always you get to because I said so.
But doing that basically just leads to, if you're the kid who keeps getting shut down, especially if you're a younger sibling, is the I'm just gonna learn how to argue. And how to have, like, all right, I got 6 or 7 things of evidence.
Yeah, you gotta have a decent supporting arguments, a well-structured approach to the argument, and then you also have to back them into it. It's like, hey, can I just can I speak to you in the living room for a minute, please? Can
I see you in the living room? Like, I know I just shit my
ignore
pants.
Ignore the whiteboard and the bullet points. Ignore that. We'll get to that later. And don't pay attention to the diorama under the blanket. We don't need that until that's for tomorrow's intervention.
It's pronounced diarrhea.
Diarrhea, right? Of course. Don't ignore the diarrhea under the blanket. We'll get to that
he just took it at face value. Oh my god, I can't believe he was just like, yeah, diarrhea, whatever, it's fine.
Just picture that, a diarrhea under a blanket, just kind of moundy, just kind of. Like,
gross.
So
Nick.
wrong. Oh man.
Oh my god.
I don't know. Do you guys honestly think that things will ever go back to how it was, or no?
I
think
hope
within
it
a couple of years we'll get to like a 4-day work week, because that seems to be a push in some like European countries, and once the data surfaces on that, where like their productivity is basically level, but their turnover goes down, probably would be my assumption of what the outcome's going to be. Companies are going to be like, okay, this makes sense, because as long as they can make the same amount of money and save money on training, because like the amount that companies shell out for onboarding new people is pretty astronomical. Like they basically lose half your year salary, right, in terms of training you, between the time you're getting ramped up and the amount of time that someone else is taking out of their day to train you. Like, it's just a lot of money that they're spending.
That's what I'm trying to like lobby for with this raise thing, is like they like it is like a bleeding carcass of just losing people, and then constantly hiring new people. And I was like, you could probably avoid that. Like, give us a wage where I am not having to room with 2 gay guys and one of them is messy as fuck. And maybe we'll stay for longer.
Yeah.
But that's, you know what? So can I ask you, Alice, is those jobs that are having a high turnover in at your workplace, are they jobs where you would learn a skill set that's transferable? Like, is it like, or is it just something that's specific?
So for my coworkers, it's like a clinical trials coordinator. So it's a lot of like, you know, administering shots, taking vitals, but also like administrative stuff with like logging all that data.
But they could do that same, like, if that's a skill that they're learning, and they could take that with them and get a job somewhere else, right?
That's what a lot of them did do. And like the average pay for a lot of like coordinators is like more than twice what we're making now.
So is it just some person, or do you think that they've just been doing it for so long that they're like, fuck it, we just pay them as little as much and just replace them? Is that kind of...
I think that's the philosophy, but they're constantly bemoaning the fact that they lose people, right? Or they're like, it's annoying having to train people. They only stick around for like 6 months or whatever. And then they leave.
You should be happy that you have a job.
Blah, blah, blah.
Decent pay. Selfish. Yeah. That's every time. Even when
you want to afford food, you piece of shit.
Oh, you want to be able to afford lobsters? That you're like, no, just food, just regular food, nothing fancy, nothing.
Food,
just
rent.
Annie's. Don't forget the Annie's craft dinner. Annie's mac and cheese.
You know they're Canadian when they say craft dinner. V5 I smell craft dinner.
I had to self-edit it along the way there.
I realized today that I do like a better German accent than I thought I did.
How did we get there from mac and cheese? Annie's mac and cheese.
Because you said Canadian, and then I thought Canadian accent, and then that got me to accents, and then German accent. So
I often think of the Fuhrer when I think of
German accents.
Canadians.
You know, I was more thinking like Werner Herzog. Talking like this is a very painstaking process. But
I wasn't even sure that was like a German accent when I first heard him, and like especially in The Mandalorian, because he's just like, I think he's just like he is truly an alien, and this is just some new dialect.
Oh, definitely. Especially Werner Herzog constantly sounds like he's holding in a shit for 3 days, right?
Yeah, and like a massive, horrible situation is waiting for him, and he's like, "No, I won't let it out. You don't understand.
If
you
I give up
persevere.
even a little bit, I will scheisse my pants."
Definitely.
My Fräulein is coming home with the shaman, and then I will evacuate.
So horrible.
I realized like later than I should have that the point of those commercials is does a bear shit in the woods, because the mascot for Charmin is like a bear family. Does a bear shit in the woods? I'm like, I get it.
Was that the original tagline, or you're just saying that's like the joke there?
He's just saying the reason it works is because everyone thinks that way.
Yeah,
it's familiar, so it just sticks in your head. Oh, bear pooping.
I thought it. I thought it was
that makes a lot of sense.
I thought it was just like a natural evolution from like cute kitty on the packaging, cute teddy bear on the packaging, and then they were like anthropomorphic bears.
Yeah. Well, no, it's just like that idiom. Does a bear shit in the woods?
Yeah. It could be that, or it could be a Goldilocks kind of extension. I could see them like coming in hard with a Goldilocks play.
Goldilocks or Goldilocks?
Goldilocks with a D. Goldilocks. Okay. Yeah.
Let's say. It's about to say, hey, what happened?
We lost.
Oh no, Alex.
No,
here. He's just on sound, right?
I'm still here.
Now he's muted. Now he's unmuted.
I'm still here.
There he is.
Okay.
Yeah.
That was weird. Anyways, we're good?
Yeah, we're still good. Nothing went wrong. I heard you guys the whole time.
No, for some reason your screen just
You
disappeared.
just desperado.
No. I did that on purpose so like someone could walk by. And
Oh,
yeah.
fair. That's fair.
Ah.
All of a sudden, this is the thing: is the way my screen is set up is when I'm looking at both of you guys, it's a fairly small picture, but as soon as it's one picture, it's like boom, Nick.
Oh.
It just sticks on my whole screen. I'm like, oh,
That's a lot of eyebrow.
that's a lot of face, man.
So much eyebrow.
Mamma mia, that's a lot of eyebrow.
I don't know. You guys are fully open right now in California, right?
Yeah, although there's like news of the Delta variant and all that stuff, like the cases are going up.
Yeah. Fear comes number one.
Yeah. I don't know. I have my vaccine. I carry a mask around. I put it on if I'm in a big crowd of people.
Yeah, that's fair. I think that's reasonable.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Yeah.
My wife.
Are you guys in summer or summer right now?
What do you mean? Like stayed on fire or hot?
Guy, you got me with that joke because the first half I was like, "What is he fucking retarded?" And I was like, "Oh, that's actually really good."
Yeah, no, that.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. Is it wet heat or dry heat? What are we talking?
It's California. It's always dry heat.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Do you guys usually have a good breeze though? No.
Not in the part of town I live in. In the part of town my mom lives in Santa Monica. Oh yeah, that is. Yeah. One thing I miss about living on the west side is it's always like 20 degrees cooler than the rest of the city.
Yeah.
I actually learned why LA is the way it is, where the downtown is like way the hell inland. Why? So LA was built by the Spanish, and Spain had like an empire that was like all of both Americas at one point.
Yeah.
And that shit's hard to keep up. So a lot of those cities that they had built on the coast, usually when a city is made, it starts at the port and radiates outward. So you have that like Boston and New York and all that stuff. But with the Spanish, they were like, all right, this is annoying where we keep having pirates attack our coasts. Why don't we start a city a day's ride inland and then go out from there? And that's why downtown LA is so far inland, is because the Spanish couldn't get their shit together.
You know, like, it's funny that is the reason, because, like, you know, when somebody is new to, like, there's a new manager or something, they're like, I'm going to change things around. And you're like, fuck my life. That is going to ruin my day for sure. And that's, like, I feel like that's what the whole thing is. The one guy's like, I got a great idea, everyone. We're not going to build on the coast. We're going to go a day's ride in. And you're like, damn it. This is going to ruin everything.
Yeah. And then William Randolph Hearst is like, hey, what if we take all the water from everywhere else and put it here? And yeah, LA is such a dumb... Like, if you try to explain to somebody what LA is, they're like, all right, you start a day's ride inland, you steal all the water from everywhere else, nothing is grid-based except in parts of the city, and there's, like, no public transportation. People are like, this is the dumbest thing I've ever heard of. They're like, second most populated city in the country.
Can we add on a electric grid that was designed by the Wile E. Coyote? Just sticks with wires on top of it, like for most of the city.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, at least it's not Texas's, which is no. We're not going into the federal grid, and then as soon as it goes out, can we please have federal funding? Please, man.
They immediately turned into like just a really shivery like addict, just like, man, just give me the juice, man.
Yeah.
Just give me a day's worth. Just give me a little bit, like just enough to get my freezer going, man. Just enough.
Is it like, see, that's the thing, is does it when is it brownout season started there, or?
I mean, it should, but nothing's happened yet. So far it's been okay. Like, there were a few like brush fires a few weeks ago, and they like boom, 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 got them. And so far, like last year it was a fucking nightmare, and this year the weather's worse, where it's hotter, but
yeah,
it hasn't really like caught on fire to the point. Like, I remember one time driving on the 405 and seeing both sides of the freeway on fire, and you're like, what the hell, man? That's some crazy shit. Yeah.
I feel like in California, like, you have firemen who are like, that's all they do. Like, they don't have a side painting business. Like, they're doing push-ups and getting ready to drop that foam shit.
Yeah.
Like the second a brush fire comes out.
Yeah.
They're just like they got the what is the opposite of flame, like a foam thrower. They got
Yeah.
they got the new SpaceX foam thrower. Yeah, it's Elon Musk's next invention.
Foam thrower sounds like a really terrible nickname for someone's dick. So
Definitely.
yeah.
Yeah.
I had a fun little thing. Like, it's weird explaining these like idiosyncrasies to people not from LA.
Can you imagine carbonated cum? Anyways, keep going.
Yeah, you don't get to bring that up and then go, all right, we're moving on. No,
Hey, that was just you said foam, and I was like,
that was even dumber than Canadian to German. That's like,
really?
Yeah,
Really? Foam
definitely.
dick is not connected to carbonated cum?
No.
I feel like it's-
The carbonated part. What got you to carbonated?
Well, foamy. And I was like, what could be, what would get you foam? And I was like, well, you'd have to pump air into it. I'm like, can't really, you'd have to have some sort of air sac within that part of the body, which is not possible. So I was thinking, well, you could add carbonation. Like that could be a thing where like CO2 gets added somewhere in the process. And you end up
Can
with
I ask,
like Pop Rocks.
why would you be so detailed in your description? That's going to be in my head so many years from now. And you know what I picture is some guy with one hand up, the other hand on his dick, and then it's foam instead of jizz. And I'm like, I can't.
No,
That's going to be in my mind
I
forever.
feel like it's like that. I feel like it's the way they make champagne. You know, like they make champagne where they put like the wine in the bottle and then they have to like quarter turn it every couple of weeks in order to make sure that it moves just enough to create the sediment. It like so that it would build up that carbonation. It's the same way. Just like every 2 weeks you have to grab your balls and like do a quarter turn, and then that makes sure it continues to build up.
But remember,
Let's just say, do not do that to your balls.
But remember, this only works if you do it in the Champagne region of France. Otherwise it's just carbonated cum.
It's just carbonated cum. Yeah.
Oh my god. I hope you take this. And also, the mental image I got when he was talking about like pumping air into it was like a dick sneezing, and then like that's the air, like achoo, and then that's in the cum.
Yeah. And you know it's gotta sneeze like an old time country. You're like, I heard that.
So just, you know what? I honestly, I just love the fact that when Atlas was able to, he realized that he was going to drop that bit. He was just like, his eyes lit up and he's like, it's coming, I'm going to say it. And the thing is, okay, so Nick, you were invited, but
think about how angry I am that I was thinking about the champagne joke when I came up with carbonated cum, and I'm like, this is going to be a great turn when we eventually get there.
Listen, we were just on a show, a stand-up show at Eargasm, which is based in Cleveland, and one of the things was this woman came on who I guess is a comedian. She was doing material, and she kind of wouldn't. She got lit like 4 times, and they were just trying to be polite and everything. And it's fine. She did some funny stuff, but she was actually, I'm a tennis trainer, and I almost went pro and stuff like that. And she's like in like gym, like tennis type stuff. And the thing is, Atlas is on for a while. He's off screen. Then he comes back. He turns on his camera. Okay, and he starts eating French fries while this woman's talking, and he's just stuffing his face with French fries. And you see, and I'm looking at his face, and he couldn't give a shit. And I'm just like, it was. I recorded my set where I commentary on it because it was.
Oh no!
He was just like, yeah, fitness is a lifestyle, and just stuffing fries into his mouth, and it was the exact same look where he's like, I am so happy with myself right now that you don't even know.
Hey, you know what? It's Friday.
Was he eating the French fries like a tennis player, just like bouncing them on the ground a few times, and then serving them into his mouth.
They went to 3, and it was like they were all spread out too, so you'd be like, ow. You know when you have to like fit it into your mouth, you got to wiggle it in.
Okay, think like in the Charlie and the Chocolate Factory movie, where it's Augustus Gloop in like the chocolate, where he's like. Where he's just fucking losing it. That's me.
Oh.
Yeah.
That kid was actually doing just a impression of Werner Herzog when he was doing that character.
My name is Augustus Gloop, and I am in love with your chocolate.
What?
I don't know.
For a fat kid, like Augustus Gloop. I want chocolate. You're like, that's not.
I don't understand why he had to get like Oompa Loompa, because like. he said you can eat anything in this room.
Yeah, but he like dove into it, and technically, I think he was the only one that wasn't murdered because he kind of committed suicide by getting into that pump. Like,
no, I mean no one was murdered. There was that scene where you all saw them like walk out, right?
No. That's in the shitty remake with Johnny Depp, not the one with Gene Wilder. Generations.
Fucking something there. It's the totally Generations.
Yeah.
Veruca, was it Veruca
Salt? Yeah.
Veruca Salt. She got dropped into the fucking.
The goose egg
was she still like obsessed with gum in the original?
That's Violet Beauregard, and yes.
Yeah.
Right.
And she ate the gum, and the whole time Willy Wonka's like, "Oh no, please don't." And watched her fucking just into a blue.
Yeah.
You were murdered, guy.
Yeah. Do you
I'm
like
surprised they had gum back then, because
in the 70s?
I mean, you guys are pretty
the
old.
word
right?
gum comes from the word mystica, which is tree sap. It's a Greek word, and it's like thousands of years old. You dipshit. Oh,
Stop. Sorry, I stopped listening the second he did this.
Yeah.
As soon as he did this, I just tuned him out because
like you've got.
Ignorance wants to stay ignorant, doesn't it? You piece of shit.
No, I think he's just like fed up with the bullying of. I just love the idea of like if Greeks had.
I feel like he needs like a little like a teacup right there, just filled with his vitriol and hate. Just like, you know what?
Is that a fucking Infinity Gauntlet cup of tea? I love it.
I don't use it because it's got weird crevices and stuff, but it's hard to wash. But yeah, definitely have this, and that is what I would use.
I have a mug that has the name Gary on it in like 12 different languages. So,
is it 12 different alphabets?
No, it's like Gary, Gerald, like shit like that, where it's like all these different languages, and the reason being is
the final one just Henry Cavill as Geralt of Rivia?
No,
right? Just saying fuck, like on the bottom of the mug is just fuck.
It should. No. It's just like comical like pop art looking stuff of the name Gary, and the reason being is my mom had a neighbor named Gary, and he had a garage sale, and I bought it for like $1 because I was like, this is fucking awesome. So now I just go to work and it's like my work mug, and people are like, who's Gary? And I was like, he's dead. He roams the halls of this office. And like, it's really fun like when new people show up, because new people show up all the time, and be like the guy from South Park, the like Stephen King looking old guy, like, yeah, Gary roams these halls. He didn't make it. Yep.
Can we get you one of those like mechanic smocks, like the button-up ones that just says Gary, and then you just always wear that at work, like just always. And then if anyone ever asks, like, your name Gary? Mm-hmm. Just you always answer with a sound. It's never committal, never yes or no. Just
that's what a Gary would do for sure. I feel like if there's going to be a Karen with all the stuff that comes with a Karen, I think there needs to be a Gary, and like Gary is the.
Let's talk about that for a sec. What's most often been like a shitty dude in your life? Has there been like a
Chad?
Kevin? Yeah.
Kevin's, Chad's. I don't think Gary is necessarily
every
negative,
Chad I've met.
but
nice guy.
Interesting.
Nice
guy. In comparison to you, though, like,
burn.
Come on,
you were missing the teacup there. All right, let's stay on the ball here.
You're missing, guy.
The thing with like Gary isn't necessarily negative. He's just kind of like an oaf. He's this like
non-committal buffoon.
Yeah, he's the "Are you winning, son?" kind of dad. He's like a Chris Parnell type in like everything Chris Parnell's been in, as like Cyril on Archer or Jerry.
Thinking like the camp counselor that Jimmy Fallon's writer plays when he has like Justin Timberlake on for like the camp thing. He's like, "Well, kids," like
kind of
just like a little too over the top.
Not over the top, but he's definitely the one where he's like, "Good morning, kids," and then they go, and he's like, "I can't hear you." Like, that's a Gary.
Yeah, he's cheery
like
in the morning.
Miss Frizzle without the ability to bench.
See,
Miss Frizzle without the charisma.
My thing is, Gary would be that's not a usual cup to find. And I was like, I really hope that you'd stolen it. No. And like it drove Gary mad because, in all honesty, like Gary had to look for a cup that said Gary. Like that's not a normal, he had to search for it. Maybe he had it specially made. Mm-hmm. You do that.
I don't know.
You ever see those kids that have like the weird names at those souvenir stands where they have like the spinning thing with everyone's names on the keychains and stuff, and then you just see that kid that's just like sullenly like.
Oh, you mean me? That's exactly what I had to go.
Me too. Yeah.
Me and Dino when we were children.
At least, like at a travel shop, you're in there, Atlas. Like
no, I'm not.
Section.
Oh,
but like there's some piece of material you can buy.
Atlas, come to Greece with me. You'll see. You'll be fine.
Yeah,
you walk in back. My name. I got my fucking name on statues and shit. No problem. Okay.
Yeah,
that's the best part.
You got a snow globe when you're holding it up. Just
yeah. That's totally. I'm gonna find that next time I go to Greece. Oh god.
But it stays.
I love doing the like when you say your name over the phone to somebody. What's your name, sir? I'm like, it's Atlas, and they're like, oh, like the insert Charles Atlas, Book of Maps, Ayn Rand, Greek God, whatever, what have you. But it's just funny.
You ever get like At Last, My Love Is Home, like?
No.
Aretha Franklin.
Oh, that was up there as bad as the German segue. That was.
Okay. So today on my last day in the office,
I'm just picturing a robotic voice just coming back with like that was the prompt it was waiting for, and it just comes like at last.
At last.
My love has gone.
I feel like this would be one of those. What was the guy that they played in Family Guy that had the hair, and he would all of a sudden start singing?
What?
You guys remember?
Wait, which guy?
Oh,
it was a real life guy, and they would suddenly show his videos.
Conway Twitty.
That's it. Conway Twitty would just pop out and start singing.
Yeah. No. So like on this last day, one of my coworkers who they were my desk neighbor, and I helped train them and stuff. And they're taking over a lot of my duties after I'm gone. And they're like, yeah, so it looks like I'm going to be half Atlas. And I was like, I half Atlas things all the time. So dumb.
I laughed at that. Okay, you posted that, and I was like, that's actually really funny. Because that was pretty good.
I don't know.
It is. I think it's funny.
It's just one of those things where, the new person who hasn't really become jaded yet, and as you're leaving, you're like, give him hell for me. Do all the dumb, lazy shit that I did when I was still there.
You're passing the baton.
Passing the baton to the
One
dumb,
day,
lazy shit.
You'll walk out of here to another office because you asked for a raise, and
they tried to separate you.
And you'll be half Atlas on that day.
Yeah, you're a troublemaker. Is your commute now longer or shorter?
Shorter.
Okay.
Yeah, so they tried to put me in the practice's main office in downtown, which would make my commute longer, trying to go downtown, and then I lobbied to go to a different one in the valley, and they were like, "Are you sure?" Because that's the downtown office is where HR is, which gives me major fuck the police vibes with
Definitely.
Being around that much authority. So I lobbied really hard, and I was like, "Can I used to work in the Valley one. Can I go back, please?" And they're like, "Fine." So I'm going up there, and my commute went from 25 minutes to 10 minutes. So
that's actually pretty good.
That's not bad at all.
There's definitely a law.
That's extra sleeping time.
Yeah,
difference.
it is.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
definitely. But that's one of the things that the law states, that they can't move you to somewhere that's further, is a longer commute.
Oh, that's cool.
I'm not sure, because the States is weird, right? You guys have a lot of labor laws that are, it's definitely in Canada.
Yeah.
But I believe California has some laws like that. Like, do you guys have maternity leave?
We have maternity leave. I'm not sure about paternity leave. I'll let you know if I ever have kids. But,
No, it's more so just a question, just because like that's usually a good gauge on what kind of laws there are that are in existence. But one of the things is, like, especially if you are talking about affecting the work environment in that way, and they want to move you, they can. But to give you a longer commute, there has to be some sort of compensation for a specific time period, something like that. Like, that's one of the things. Just keep your eye out for that.
Yeah. Well, the fact, like, it didn't really take much. It was basically like, when HR told me they were moving, I was like, can I move that? Like, go there instead? And they're like, I checked up the flagpole, and I'm like, can I talk to them myself? And they're like, yeah, if you want. Which basically was the again, the parent thing, where they're like, I checked with the Green Power Ranger, and I literally just went like, hey, can I go here? And they're like, yeah, I guess, if you want. I'll, like, I gave them a good reason.
One that smells.
There's a good chance that they actually don't. Well, they may not actually know what's going on. So HR is taking care of it.
Yeah.
So when you ask, like, hey, I don't really want to go there. Can I go here? They're like, I don't know, whatever, man.
Yeah, whatever.
Like, they don't have a problem.
Yeah. Well, because
right? It's HR that jumps in.
I think as long as the work gets done, they don't really care all that much. But yeah. So we will see in the next week or so where your buddy ends up with if I get randomly canned, or it turns into this weird knockdown drag out fight. But I'm not gonna scab on my friends. So
yeah. And then all of a sudden we're just getting email like, Atlas has moved to Siberia.
Yeah.
You just get disappeared like the opposition leader of Russia.
Yeah. He has moved to Siberia on his own will, and then the Germans show up and they're like, hey, you want to start a revolution? Let's go. Put you on a train to Moscow.
Yeah. Then you move to Austria and start, like, go to painter school.
That's a little different. Wrong dictator, but good guess.
I don't think there was anything good about that little.
No, of course not.
Boys. So bad.
All roads lead back to Hitler.
All roads lead back to Hitler. I believe that's called Godwin's Law, right? Where it's like you can't have an argument on the internet without it eventually devolving into Hitler.
Yeah, I think there's I think the shorter, like, the amount of characters, like, the quicker you get there or something like that. Like, the shorter the posts.
Interesting. I didn't know that part. So it's
I
like
don't know.
Twitter,
I remember seeing some sort of equation or something in some sort of Reddit subthread.
Yeah.
Some people, like, they have so much genius and they use it for such stupid endeavors.
So much, but it's. Do you think that's always been the case, though? Do you think that people have gotten more invested in ridiculous things now, or do you think that's a constant through time?
I don't think so. I think, example, Archimedes, one of the greatest mathematicians of all time. He was inventing math stuff, but he also did shit like invent a laser to ignite ships sitting on the water and a crane that could lift them back up and drive. That shit you make up in your bathtub with toys. You're like, all right,
yeah.
my little laser is gonna shoot because I have a theory of the mirrors, and then it's gonna light the ship sitting on the water.
Just a Rube Goldberg experiment of.
Yeah, exactly. Everyone's got their stupid shit.
In your mouth. Was the end goal.
Yeah, history distills Isaac Newton down to, apple falls in my head, gravity, and then all the math. But he was drinking mercury and shit. Everybody has their stupid pet projects. Always.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nick, what do you think?
I think it's probably been I think it's probably been constant, the types of people that we've had, but just not everyone has always had access to the ability to learn what they can, and so the people that have the capacity to not everyone has the ability to understand complex ideas, but some people have the ability to process that. But
like the complex ideas that they choose to focus on are just like exclusively League of Legends and weird anime, like,
Yeah.
and that's exclusively what they're using their human potential for. Well, I have no problem with that, but it's like that's all you're contributing to society is just like threads discussing the new plot points.
Yeah,
You know,
I get
let's
that.
branch out, guys.
And it seems weird, like just because like
Develop a
that
hobby.
idea. Well, even still, like what you were saying, Atlas, is like those are stuff like things you make up when you're in the bathtub as a kid, right? It's like, yeah, except he actually did some of that shit, and you're
Yeah.
like, this is the thing is like, and I apologize because this is but when you explain the length of divorce that your parents went through, it's like I think about that picture of the couple over a pile of Beanie Babies, and they're separating them as part of the, like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? I'm like, just like that's the thing is like we get so invested in these crazy shit, right? Like that just I don't know it's something that I find just perplexing.
Yeah, like when I was 12, my dad took me to 5 different child psychologists to see if I was autistic. So 4 of them went, he's 12. Like 12-year-olds are into like, trading card games and boobs.
Yeah.
Like it's just what 12-year-olds do. The 5th one was like, I guess if you stretch it, maybe. And then he took that 5th one, and it was like, he's
I would
autistic.
love if one of the doctors is just like, I mean, is he measuring the boobs?
That's pretty reasonable.
I think people never really outgrow the like trading cards and boobs thing. It's just they find a way to compartmentalize that while they like go to work and stuff.
Yeah, that's pretty fair.
I mean, you find the hours, and then hopefully, if you live a half decent life, and you figure out how to talk to people, like, you get to see real boobs at some point in your week, and then the preoccupation like kind of dissipates after that. Like, if you've seen like legit live boobs, like, you're good for a couple days. Like, you don't turn your head as quickly. Like, you're like, I mean, I saw, yeah, those are boobs, but I saw boobs, the real boobs, yesterday. Like, and I saw them without the fabric. And then, I think the longer the period that you have between like nipple sightings in the wild, the more incel you get. I think that's kind of, there's got to be a correlation, if not a causation.
Makes sense, but maybe it's a thing where like, as you can do it before, and then it just makes it easier every subsequent time to deal with.
That's what that is, right? You just it's confidence and going into the situation, right? It goes back to our conversation the other episode, like interview. If you seem like you don't need it, like you're probably gonna get it, right?
Yeah.
Just because that indifference just comes across as abundant confidence, right?
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
Yeah, this episode brought to you by Battle Nips. No. My friend who listens to this show, like, we meet up and he's like, hey, when are you going to start a game of Battle Nips with all of us? And I was like, oh, yeah, because you listen to the show and the rest of them don't. No one knows what we're talking about. And then I had to explain the concept of Battle Nips, which, if you're just joining us now, it's basically guess where the nipple is on a picture, and then you...
And you know what? The fun thing is like, it's harder than you think.
It is. It's very hard.
Because like you think it'd be like, oh, it's in a predictable area, but like, if you don't see the torso, like, you have no sense of where to guess, and then it's just And the fact that you have to guess where both nipples are just adds another layer to the game. Where you got to be like, hey, what angle are we standing at? It's very sophisticated.
The fact that he's going into like
it's
the depth of
you
Battle
get
Nips.
AI to simulate like the ability to play Battle Nips. Like, I think that's where we're getting close to the uncanny valley.
That's like dumber than starting a podcast about a trading card game that's been going on for 5 years. Oh wait, I already did that. So, yeah. To you Nexus at Night listeners who got convinced to listen to this, hi. Hope you're doing well.
We all hope you're doing well.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Goodness.
You know what? Like, do you guys save a lot of Instagram reels?
No.
No, not really.
I don't
So
really
if
do
I-
Instagram at all for the most part.
I do enjoy it, and the funny thing is, one of them is like, tell me your boyfriend won't cheat without telling me your boyfriend won't cheat.
Okay.
And I just feel like your girlfriend would be like, this is his podcast, this is his other podcast. It's like, there you go, that's it, just ta-da.
Yeah, that's accurate.
Yeah, you're definitely not going to take the Marin route and marry a fan. Like,
Oh.
No. God damn it, no. Like,
Oh, I think I'm gonna watch your podcast. I just want to see what it's all about. Fucking-
it's gonna be one of those things where we're gonna start talking about stuff like, what the hell is he talking about?
No, you know what? So a friend of mine, he bought me a copy of Overwatch. So I've been playing Overwatch online, and I don't normally play
Awesome.
game. Yeah, so I've been playing that, and I'm like, I have a great time. Like, I used to play Hero Clicks and stuff like that, and I'm like, I was a nerd, and I'm like, I'll learn a new game. I just want to fucking see what it's all about.
Yeah. And then you were talking about, what was it, Street Fighter or Mortal Kombat?
Yeah, Street Fighter
Yeah.
2.
Yeah, so like in the show that aired before we started recording this, he had like a bit about, what was it, E Honda throwing hands
Yeah.
in Street Fighter 2.
People are forgetting that fat people can throw hands, and the reason why is because they forgot about Street Fighter 2 Turbo, because E Honda could just and fuck people up.
What is that,
Well,
100-hand
I
slap or
feel
whatever?
like-
Yeah,
well, if you're fighting a bigger person, like they still have that quick twitch muscle fiber. They just have zero endurance, right? Like they don't have any kind of staying power, but they can give you a quick 1-2, right? Like you just have to drag them into deep water. Like if you're fighting a bigger person, if you just take like 10 steps back, that's probably more cardio than they've done in several days, right? So like you're already outpacing them a little bit. And then you also got to look out for the calves. Like the calves on someone who's been bigger in their life, like are just, there's nothing, like you can't fight those. Like they're just like ham hocks. They look like a full like pig's leg, just basically a prosciutto on the lower half.
I have those calves.
Yeah.
My calves are bigger than people's thighs.
They're powerful, man. They're powerful.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, because you got to carry all that weight. A lot of
press
the muscle
shots.
is like in the calf. Yeah.
Oh
That's it.
man.
They're fucking solid too.
So what I learned from this is that we need to get you two in the same place and have you fight each other.
I already agreed to that. Nick and one of his friends were gonna try and take me on, like Andre the Giant versus the midgets.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I was like, I'm so down with that. I'll take on 5 of you, no problem. I'm like, absolutely.
Before he had a psychotic break. Yeah. Yeah.
No, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
I love a good fight. This is the thing, is not enough people have been in a legit fight, I think. And that's the thing, is they're afraid of that interaction, and I'm like, you know what? It's exhilarating, I'm telling you. Once you're done, you just want to fuck like an animal. That is a fact.
You want to feel them from the inside.
Not the person you're fighting.
I know, I know, but just
Is anyone else just picturing Dino like over a sprawled corpse?
Yeah, and he's like, I wanna fuck
He's
you
like, "Now's
like an
daddy's time."
animal. Yeah.
And then foam. Boom!
Foam thrower, go! And that's like his
And
finishing
now
move
this
in Street
fight-
Fighter. Like,
Now, it's only considered like a proper fight if it occurs in the Champagne region of France.
that was the quick, like, what, 4 callbacks in a row? That's like impressive.
Hey, we're getting the hang of this whole talking between people. It's very
Yeah.
exciting.
No, that's a good time. Oh my god. Okay, so
Now, listeners, please also write in and let us know if the quarter turn of your testicles works to carbonate your own.
I'm gonna vomit. So what is that, at Generation Dan on Twitter? That's the
That generation Dan.
And on
Let's get
Twitter, we have an
subject line carbonated cum.
Generation Dan Pod.
yeah,
Is that our
at
that's our-
Gmail. Yeah.
At
By the
Gmail.
way, you spelled millennial wrong on the Twitter like bio.
Yeah, there's only 18 L's in there.
Yeah.
Guy, you make it sound like that's something that I would actually give a shit. I would spell it wrong on purpose just to fuck with people. Like that's no, I don't care.
That was
I
like
wrote. I don't give a shit.
Well, I assume it was an L issue. Was it an
No,
L
no,
issue?
no, no, no. He did millennial, not millennial.
Oh,
He got the rest of
millennial.
it right, just the E. And he
Well,
did it.
I mean,
sounds
it
like
is
something I'd
pretty
fuck up.
appropriate. It is pretty appropriate. The me of it all.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, in my head. So this is the thing: is so I also, when I write, if you read it, you think I'm an idiot. But if you say it out loud, it sounds like a speech. Like that's just the way I write things.
Mm-hmm.
So when I'm spelling, like my grammar is horrific, spelling is horrible, and it's even worse in Greek. But that's why I'm like, I'll just spell things, like, because Greek words are spelled phonetically, right?
Yeah.
So for me, I'm like millennial. Yeah, it's an E.
Yeah.
That's for me. But I don't. Yeah, I'm an
Oh,
idiot.
oh yeah. English is a dumb language. I think we might be one of the few languages to have spelling bees in the first place, just because of how much of a perpetual stew of a language we are. Of just like throw everything in there. Who cares? Like,
Well, and I feel like the bar is getting lower and lower, where they're like, all right, fine, lit. Let's just change the meaning. Like,
yeah.
they just keep acquiescing. Like they just keep going. Like, I mean, I guess we can change the meaning of literally to mean also figuratively. Like,
Yeah, I mean, well, that's just how language evolves for the most part. I just like that.
Are you picturing like that boardroom where these decisions are being made, where they're just like, I mean,
So maybe we could spell it better, and the guy gets thrown out the window. Like,
Yeah. Well, I was more thinking of like that episode of American Dad where Steve gets into a spelling bee and like his crush is also in it, and they keep spelling words wrong, so they never they don't have to like win or beat the other one. So it'll be like spell the word mom, and then you spelled Medea's Diary of a Mad Black Woman, or like just like stupid shit.
oh my god.
Yeah, or say the number 7, 4. All right, I guess I'm not making the date that I have tonight, and like just it's a good episode.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I feel like that's I always love when you play like those games with your family where it's like you have to guess what the other person's gonna guess, because like then you just see like the level of weirdness that you can see in a family. It's like, what does Dad think barbecue sauce is made out of? And then you're just like, and then someone just writes loud like pig feet, and you're like, I mean, where would this come from? And you always get to see those glimpses into weird parts of people's lives.
What's the dumbest like parent myth that you had growing up, where like you asked your parents something and their explanation was just complete dog shit?
I have like a vivid memory of like the first time I remembered my dad being like over the top sarcastic with me.
Yeah.
And like I was literally like I was playing with Lego, and he like came downstairs and like sat with me, and he was just like he was trying to be like a good dad, and he's like, I mean,
Are you
I'm not
winning,
into
son?
this Lego. Yeah, and he would just like play with me, and then he was like, what are you building? And I'm like, I'm building a shield generator.
Yeah.
And, like you know, like from like a Star Wars episode 1 with the Gungans. Yeah. And
Generations.
I'm like,
yeah.
And I asked him, I'm like, do you know how to build a generator?
Yeah.
A shield generator? And he's like, yeah. And then he just went like, did it a bunch back in university. And he just, when he said it straight faced.
Yeah.
And then like as a child, I just remember being like, huh, did it back in university. And then I was just thinking about it, and then I looked at him, I'm like, he didn't do it back in And just like that realization, and like I got all hot, and like I started sweating in my back because I felt so dumb. And then I was just like, oh, they're not always saying what they mean.
So your dad was so sarcastic with you, your ability to detect sarcasm came online from that.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
I think it was just like I thought you always had to do like the sarcastic voice. I think up until that point.
Oh, okay.
Where like because normally people are like, no,
Yeah.
I think it like I did back in, like you usually put the voice on, but like this is the first time where I think he had said it like completely straight faced and just played it regular. And then I was just like, oh, so you can just do that? You could just like say it like it's true? Like,
Yeah.
And I was like, wow, this is a whole other realm, because it's like it's basically sanctioned lying.
Yeah.
That's what it is, right? As long as it's for a joke, like you can lie your ass off, but as long as you're trying to be funny, like, and I was like, this is a great loophole.
How about you, Dino?
You know what? It's a lot simpler. Was you can't turn the light on in the car at nighttime, or open the window on the highway.
Okay.
You'll lose control of the car.
Yeah.
And I'm like from air pressure? And they're like, yes. And I was like, that doesn't sound right. But what the fuck do I know? Yeah.
I read books all the time, so like I always heard the like turn the light off in the car and stuff, and I was just like, why? And he's like, because it'll distract the people behind us. And I'm like,
fuck those people.
Oh, I always got I can't see out of the front window.
Oh, that too.
Yeah. Which after I turned 16 and got my driver's license, I like turned the light on. I was like, they were fucking lying the whole time. Like, come home all indignant. I can see out of the front window.
The thing is, like, the reason is enough. Like the real reason, it's just like it's distracting. That's all it. That's all the reason is, and like, it's the same reason you don't touch the driver. Yeah. Like that's the other rule you learn as a kid, and you could learn that one, and you're like, yeah, that's fine. And if you, I feel like if they just connect it to that, where they're like, it's just distracting, and it makes it more difficult to drive. It's like, okay, I want to live through this car ride as well. Like,
yeah.
I think that's the funny thing. Like I learned, one of the things I learned in my first marriage was I just stopped lying. Where I was like, I would lie for like stupid things, like, have you had breakfast? No. It's like, oh, did you eat anything? Yeah. And it's a lie. And I'm like, why am I lying? Like, but I'm like, that's the thing is, a lot of times I've heard, oh yeah, you can't turn on the light on the inside of a car when you're driving. You'll get a ticket.
Yeah.
You suddenly can't see out the windows, and you'll kill somebody, and you're just going, yeah. Or you say, I just don't like it. Don't do it.
Yeah.
It's distracting. Fuck off.
I think, like, as a kid, though, where your instinct when parents tell you stuff is to do the opposite, that, like...
Sure.
So I think they have to appeal to your safety in that sense.
Yeah.
Which I guess I guess that makes sense for looking back on childhood.
Hey, no one that I live with. Do you wanna go across? No. Oh no, I'm all alone. Oh, okay.
Yeah, people watching on YouTube are like, why do they keep turning the camera off? It's because people have to walk past. Oh my god.
Great.
All right.
Spectre of my past.
Yeah. Well.
Guy. Oh, that's,
Jesus
you know
Christ.
What? No, there's 2 bits that I'm working on right now, and they're all around like just relationship stuff, and they're really horrible. But at the same time, I'm afraid that if I deliver it too early, they're not going to be good. But I feel like I might need to say them anyway, just to, figure out how they work properly. But.
Yeah.
God. And then he's like, oh yeah, no one I live with walking behind me. I was just like, yeah, that's one of those points. It's definitely, yeah. So
Dino just explain that he needs to work out material.
Yeah. But I'm always afraid of working out material because some people are like, that was stupid, and I'm like, fuck.
Well, you got to do it somewhere. I think it's easier like at the shittiest open mic. Like you know how to write jokes at this point.
You've been to Oshawa?
No. I've been to an urban cafe. That's and it doesn't.
Not that bad.
Yeah, it doesn't even exist anymore. Poof. Yeah. R.I.P. Well, thanks for listening to this here show.
It was awesome until like minute 59, like 58, 59. It was killer.
Yeah.
Well, don't tell them that, right?
Well, they can tell them now.
Yeah.
It's already passed.
All right.
It's
well,
like, fuck you. It's 8 minutes of your time.
Yeah. Well, we said before. Follow us on Twitter at Generation Dan or email us generationdanpod@gmail. Where can they find us in places? Do you know?
Me?
Yes.
All right, fine.
Oldest to youngest. Yeah.
At Dino the Genetic Marvel. I am all over the internet. Wherever you find social media, I am probably there and watching you. Just so you know.
So fucking creepy. You can find me at Atlas Novak. Twitter, Instagram, that's Novack, by the way. I've had people make that mistake. And then follow my other show at Nexus at Night in the same places.
Hey, hold on. That name Atlas Novak sounds like it shouldn't have a C. Okay?
No, that's totally fair.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. It's definitely like, because other spellings of Novak, BJ Novak, Kim Novak, is Novak.
Yeah.
Like, it should be that way. But
And
it's not.
the C is silent, right? It's spelled catless, but you
Right,
just
right.
don't pronounce.
Of
pronounce
course,
the
yeah.
C.
No. I didn't tell you. I'm aware, Kitty.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All
Nick,
right,
where can they find you?
Enough meowing around. You can also find.
Horrible.
You can also follow me on Instagram at Nick Fernandez Comedy and also on other platforms at Nick Fernandez Comedy. And please email in if you are listening to this podcast in the Champagne region of France.
Oh my god. Yeah, ask us questions. If you got something that like maybe there's generational difference that you want to see us duke it out, as it were.
Even
right.
if they have a question specifically for one generation that is being represented,
Yeah.
by all means, just if you want an opinion, feel free to throw questions our way.
X, Y, or Z.
Throw questions and carbonate.com.
Yeah. Carbonate.com. God. Good night, everybody.